You might be working hard and putting your heart into your business, grinding every day and putting in the effort, and you feel like every decision you make for your business is the right one. But I want to tell you, if you don't have a CFO right now, meaning a chief financial officer, at least 3 out of the last 6 decisions you've made are probably wrong and costing you thousands of dollars without you even realizing it. This episode is especially for business owners who are making more than $100,000 or startups that want their company to grow significantly in a short period of time. If you're working and you feel like your company is making a high net profit, that is a high bottom line, but in reality there's a shortage in your cash flow, then you have a problem. Sometimes the problem goes back to decisions you made that were wrong or a lack of accuracy in calculating your profit and loss. Another thing we all need to understand is that there's a difference between profit and loss in cash flow. In other words, you might be profitable on paper, but in reality, you don't have enough cash to keep the company running. So what does CFO mean, and what is their role in your company? And do I really need a CFO to make my decisions more successful and increase their chances of success? Stick around until the end of the video, and I'll tell you how you can get a free consultation with us so you can benefit from a complimentary session we're offering to business owners. So what does CFO mean? CFO stands for Chief Financial Officer. This is the person who manages the company's finances and strategy. So what's the difference between a CFO and an accountant or bookkeeper? No, of course, there's a huge difference. The accountant or bookkeeper's whole job is just to record events that have already happened. They keep records for your bookkeeping. Meanwhile, the CFO is the person who makes crucial decisions or sets the strategy that leads to financial outcomes or revenues. In other words, they're the one who sets the pricing for your product. The CFO is the one who starts setting the strategy and forecasting your cash flow. Based on that, they start making decisions. Should I invest since I have cash flow, or should I pull my investment out? Do I need to buy another investment, property, bonds, anything like that? Is this decision right or wrong? And some of these decisions are what we call operational decisions, or what we call day-to-day operation decisions. Like what, for example? Hiring an employee, buying new machines. What happens is that as business owners, we always make a mistake. We make decisions based on gut feeling. In other words, I feel like 5 employees are making me $100,000. So if I hire a 6th employee, with our way of thinking, that means I'll make $120,000. But that's wrong. That could totally backfire on me. Quite simply, the cost of the new employee could be higher. It could also be that my costs will go up and won't cover the revenue, among many other things. And I want to share a very important statistic with you. Only 15% of the strategy decisions we make as business owners are actually right. And 85% of them are wrong and end up costing us money without us even realizing it. Think about how many times you've hired an employee and your profit didn't increase. How many times have you felt stuck and your cash flow just couldn't keep up, even though in reality, millions of dollars are coming in? And that's where the CFO's role comes in. Part of their job is to oversee the accountant. They start looking at your reporting. They begin to compare you to the industry. They start telling you, okay, there's something wrong here. For example, your costs are higher. They'll start telling you if you want to hire an employee based on past performance, expectations in the market, if the market's going to grow, they'll tell you whether to hire or not. What will happen if we buy machines? They start giving me scenarios and help you improve your decision making. Companies that have a CFO see their decision success rate increase from 50% to 85%. And of course, that's a really big percentage if you have someone. Simply put, you have someone who understands finance and helps you make decisions the right way. Naturally, this brings a lot of benefits. Let me tell you the top 3 decisions we as business owners always get wrong. The first decision is pricing. We always set our prices without any prior research. I'd like to tell you that the success of some very big companies was all about pricing. Of course, I don't even need to mention China, which had the strongest and most effective pricing strategies that made it one of the world's leading economies. And not just because of quality or anything else. It's because they set the right price for their products. And this is where the CFO comes in to help you set the right price, not based on expectations or just on the market. No, it's based on your costs and a calculated study that lets you set the lowest price in the market while still making the highest profit. Another mistake I always see is business owners hiring without any kind of calculation. We always think, as I mentioned before, that if I increase the number of employees, my sales will go up. So naturally, my net profit will increase. That's wrong. First, sometimes hiring an employee costs you more than the benefit they bring. Second, your sales might actually go up, but your net profit could go down because you have fixed costs. And if you exceed them, you need to change those costs. For example, let's say I have a shop that costs me $2,000 and brings in 100 clients. If I get 150 clients, does that mean I'm going to make more profit? No, because I would need to increase the size of the shop. So the new rent or the cost of expanding capacity might be way higher than what I can afford. And this is something a lot of business owners fall into, and it causes them to suffer huge losses even though their sales are actually increasing. And when I get to the third point, this is the biggest mistake that happens. Investing without doing any research. They start listening to what people say. Someone will tell you, if you have some extra cash in the business, put it into real estate. Someone else will say, no, put it in bonds. Then you might hear from another friend that you should put it in stocks. If these investments aren't properly studied, they can lead to disastrous failure for you personally and for your business. For example, let's say I have some cash flow in the business and I decide to put it into bonds to get a good rate. The sprout, yeah, it'll give me a rate, sure, but what if I actually needed that money in the short term? No, in that case, I'd put it in the money market. That's when you really need to study your cash flow. That's what helps you make the right investment at the right time. Just 1 hour in a day can make the difference between a profitable investment and a losing one. And that's where the CFO comes in. He tells you when to invest, gives you the best investment advice, and creates an investment strategy so you can invest the right way. Everything I've talked about isn't just warnings. We work with companies and help them build a financial system. And we assign them a CFO who works with them step by step. And this CFO is an expert in the industry. So for example, if you have a pharmacy or you're in retail or whatever it is, the CFO working with you is an expert in your industry. So does that make a difference? Of course it does, because he sees you and 1,000 companies just like you, and he can spot your problem at a glance. If you have a company making more than $100,000 or a startup that wants to grow rapidly, this is the time when you need to start thinking about a CFO. This is the time when every financial decision you make should be done the right way, in the right place, and at the right time, so you can reap the rewards of your hard work. Don't let your efforts go to waste because of poorly thought out decisions, and you'll find a link in the description below where you can book a free consultation with us. The advisor will be with you, but only for a limited number of sessions in a limited time. They'll help you build a financial system. My job isn't just to file taxes. It's not about doing bookkeeping either. No, my role is much stronger and more valuable than that. It's about helping companies reach the net profit they want by setting up the right strategies and financial plans. If you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe.